Hello everyone, this is the Awakening is Now YouTube channel. Thank you again for tuning in. Today we will provide an inner temple healing meditation. But first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about what is an inner temple exactly. As we have outer temples in the physical world, you can think of churches, mosques, Buddhist temples, and many more of these spiritual temples. So we also have inner temples. These are temples in the inner realms and part of the inner worlds. These are ancient temples and have been used for thousands of years, but because of their powers and potencies, they have only been known to some. For centuries, these temples have been used for healing, for passing on knowledge, for initiation, for inner travels, for aligning with the higher energies, and for many other purposes. But for centuries, they have been kept a secret and have only been known to people deeply involved with esotericism, with alchemy, with white magic, and people on a certain path of development. But in this time of transition, they can now be revealed to those who are willing to learn and heal, for those on the path, and for those who wish to really heal on a core level. For these individuals, the inner temples are made available and have become aware, so that they can be used in preparation for the transition and time ahead. And today we will visit one of these ancient inner healing temples. This could potentially be a life-changing event that could change the course of your life quite drastically, but only for the better, so no worries. So what can you expect from today's healing process, and how does it work? Today's work will be vision work. This means that we will be working in vision. You'll be laying down or sitting in a comfortable chair. There will be some soft music in the background, and there will be a guidance. Through this guidance, you'll be guided into the subconscious and into a certain spiritual process. During the process and on your journey, you'll be encountering a number of different symbols. First of all, you'll be stepping onto the inner desert. This is the inner plane of the subconscious mind. Shortly after, you will step into the forest. This is an even deeper layer of the subconscious mind. Soon after, you will reach the inner library, and inside the inner library, you will find the librarian. This is the keeper of the inner library, and the library itself holds all the ancient knowledge of the universe. All expressions of the universe, when it comes to knowledge, is all contained, stored, and protected within the inner library. You will then be guided to the inner ancient healing temple, and of course here is where the magic happens. And towards the end, you'll be guided back to where you are right now, into the body, into the here and now. You can now take the time to formulate your intention for today's healing work. Mainly, the first thing that comes up for you will be the one to go with, but take all the time that you need to choose your intention for today's work. You can even pause the recording before you continue. During today's work, you can lay down in bed or you can sit in a comfortable chair. You can sit or lay down with your feet crossed and your hands interlocked or folded into each other. This we call the whole brain state position. This allows you to experience a full circuit, you could say, and a whole state of being, as all parts of the body are interlocked. This is a meditative position. Through the interlocking of all our parts, we experience our totality of being. So during the healing work, it would be helpful to sit or lay in this whole brain state position, so with legs crossed and hands interlocked. Before we start with the guidance, you can once more make yourself completely comfortable. Move around a little bit until you have found your right position, and then we will take a couple of deep breaths and relax. You can now let go of any thoughts of the mind, any thoughts of today's plans, anything that still needs to be done, all your plans of tomorrow, and anything that happened yesterday. All can be completely let go. Also, any ideas about who you think you are, your name, your identity, your gender, what you have done in the past, what you might do in the future, all these concepts and ideas, you can just simply let them all go. For a moment, you can let go of all these thoughts and identifications and allow the mind to be completely empty and just sense this inner peace. Now, in your mind's eye, see yourself walking on the inner desert. This is the inner plane of the subconscious mind, but it is not like any other desert. It doesn't have the high hills, and it is not extremely hot. It is actually flat, and the temperature is absolutely perfect for you. And in the distance, you see a patch of forest in the middle of the desert. You can go there. Let's have a look. And as you walk there, think of your intention for today's healing work. As you arrive at the forest in the middle of the desert, you find a pathway that leads into the forest. Let's have a look. As you take the pathway into the forest, all becomes dark. You see some animals, some creatures, but you don't recognize all of them. But above you is a guiding light. This guides you on your path ahead. At some point, the forest opens up to an open space in the middle of the forest. In front of you, you see a big gate, with behind it a huge ancient castle in the middle of the forest, and it is lit up with all kinds of lights around it. The gate in front of the castle is partially open. You can go in. As you pass through the gate, you walk to the main door of the castle. It is a brown, ancient door, and as you put your hands against the door, you can state your name with the intention to enter, and the door will slowly open. As you pass through the door, you step into a corridor, and on both sides of the corridor, you find rows of bookshelves filled with books on either side of you. And these bookshelves go high, high, high into the heavens without any end. And ahead of you, you see the corridor. Keep walking. At some point, the corridor opens up to a huge circular lobby. This is the lobby of the inner library. Behind you, you see the corridor where you just came out of. On the other side of the lobby, you see another corridor, and to your left and right, you also see two corridors. And in the middle of the lobby, there's a small table with a little bell on it. You can go there and ring the bell. And as you walk there, have a look around in this beautiful inner library. As soon as you have ring the bell, the inner librarian arrives. This is the keeper of the inner library. The librarian will ask you for your name and your intention for today's visit to the inner library. Just here, state your name and your intention for today's healing work. After accepting, the librarian guides you down one of the corridors, and at some point, the librarian takes you into one of the side alleys filled with shelves of books. You walk to the end of the alley, and there you find a stone statue. The librarian signals to you that it needs to be moved. Together, you move it aside. Under the stone statue reveals itself an ancient stone staircase that leads into the darkness. The librarian signals to you to go down into the tunnel. As you go down the stone staircase, you see that the walls are lit up. You can see on the walls that there are ancient murals and signs engraved into the walls. Keep going down. At some point, the stone staircase opens up to what looks like a cave. It is an inner chamber, deep underground. The energy feels very powerful here. This is the ancient inner healing temple. Make your way to the center of the chamber. Here in the center of the chamber, you will find an altar with a candle on top, with a flame. Here you can place your hands left and right beside the candle on top of the altar and ask for guidance and protection on your journey. When you are ready, you can turn to your left and go to the left side of the chamber. Here you will find a port or like a gate, and as you pass through it, you'll find here a bright blue purple light. You can completely merge with it. Here you might have contact with certain beings. You can also ask for healing, healing of the mind, or for certain insights or knowledge. Whatever you do, completely merge with this intense bright blue-purple light and sense the energy here. We will stay here for a couple of minutes. When you are ready, you can return to the central altar, and instead of going left, you can now go straight ahead. Also here, you will find a port or like a gate, and as you pass beyond it, here you will find a bright red light. You can completely merge with it. Also here, you might encounter certain beings. You can also ask for healing, maybe healing in relation to your power or your fire or anything that comes to mind. As long as you completely merge with this bright red light and really sense the power here. We will also stay here for a couple of minutes. When you are ready, you can return back to the central altar, and this time you can move to your right. Also here you will find a port like a gate, and as you move beyond it, you will find here a bright green yellowish light. You can completely merge with it. Also here you might encounter certain beings. You can also ask for healing when it comes to your heart or your feelings or anything that comes up for you. As long as you merge completely with this bright green yellowish light and really sense the power here. We will also stay here for a couple of minutes. When you are ready, you can return back to the central altar, and this time you can turn around and move in the direction behind you. Also here you will find a port like a gate, and as you pass beyond it, you will find a bright black luminous light. And even though it is black and dark, you completely trust it and you feel it will hold you. You can completely merge with it. Also here, you might encounter certain beings and you can ask for healing, maybe for your grounding or anything related to the body. Anything that comes to mind, you can bring that in for healing. Also here, completely merge with this black, bright, luminous light and really sense the power here. We will stay here for a couple of minutes. When you are ready, you can return back to the central altar and you can stand in front of the altar facing the red port. As you do so, a being of light comes out of the red port and approaches you, and at some point it stands before you. The being greets you, and it takes a moment to introduce itself to you. It might also share with you a certain gift, or it might share with you certain insights or knowledge. It might also give you a healing. Whatever it wants to share with you, we will take a moment for you to fully receive it. When the being is finished with sharing with you what it came to share, you can thank it for its gifts or the healing or the insights. And after this, the being will move aside the central altar, and below the central altar will reveal itself a dungeon of fire. The being will ask you to trust and to jump into the fire, into the dungeons below. It will ask you to trust and to bring with you any kind of old patterns, any kind of limitations, beliefs, old childhood wounds, and anything that is holding you back from being your full potential. It asks you to bring that into the fire and to completely burn it down, to completely destroy it and transmute it entirely. When you are ready, you can take one deep breath and then jump into the fire and the dungeons below and allow all the old and everything that is keeping you back from being your full potential to entirely burn down, break down, and be completely destroyed. Allow all to be transmuted. We will also stay here for a couple of minutes. When you are ready, you rise up out of the fires back into the inner healing temple, and you land in the temple in front of the light being. The light being in front of you holds out its hand, and as you take its hand, it gently pulls you out of your old shell. And what emerges is your spirit being, your light being. It emerges and is pulled out of your old shell, and you see your old shell behind you crumbling down like ashes breaking down in dust. Suddenly, the roof and the ceiling of the inner healing temple opens up, and above you, you see this bright shining light. And the being in front of you signals to rise up and to merge with this bright shining light. It is the source. It is the infinite ocean of consciousness that you are. You rise up and you merge with this bright light. We will stay here for a couple of minutes. When you are ready, you can come back down out of the source, out of this bright, infinite ocean of light, and you can stand back in the inner temple in front of the being. You can thank the being for all its gifts, the healings, the insights, and anything that it shared with you, and it will greet you into your new life. And then when you are finished, you can slowly make your way back up the stone staircase back into the inner library. Here you will be awaited for by the librarian. It has one last surprise for you. The librarian points towards one of the corridors, and it points towards one of the bookshelves. And as you walk towards it, you find that a book is standing out and leaning towards you. It speaks to you. This is the book for you. It is absolutely perfect for you. Have a look. What is its title? What are the colors of the book? And what does it contain? Whatever it is, it will help you on your path forward. You can take a deep breath, and then you can take the book into your body, and it will merge with your energy field. After embodying the book and its content and knowledge, you can thank the librarian, and then you can make your way through the lobby, out of the front door, the front gate, back into the forest. And this time, when you walk through the forest, it is very light, and there's a lot of bright, colorful lights around you. And you see a lot of creatures and animals that look very beautiful. And as you walk to the end, back onto the inner desert. And as you walk back onto the inner desert, you feel so much more lighter. You really feel like a baggage has been dropped off of you. And as you walk, you feel so light that you even pick up off the ground and leave the inner desert below you. You start flying high up into the sky like a bird. You feel completely free. Really feel this freedom. And as you fly like a bird, completely enjoying this newfound freedom, at some point you look down and you see the earth again. And as you go down and down, at some point you even see the continent that you live on, and you recognize the country that you live in. And as you go down and down, at some point you even see the city that you live in. And as you go down and down, you recognize the house that you live in. And as you go down, you land in front of the house. And as you land, feel that moment of making contact with the earth again. What does that feel like? You can now enter the house and slowly make your way back to the body where you left it before starting the process. And when you find your body, you can slowly and gently make your way back into the body and start wiggling your toes, your fingers, your hands, your feet, and slowly come back to the here and now. If this healing meditation was helpful for you, please feel free to share this video with anyone for whom you feel it could be helpful too. And of course, you can like the video and leave a comment if this feels right for you. And if you would like to enjoy more healing content and tools, please subscribe to our channel, and we will do our very best to provide you with all the content and tools that you need.